further, you do that, notify your supervisor, and then they address it, remediate it. Any questions at all about we've talked about so far? Bulk deliveries, the spill prevention report has if you have any questions about for your specific facility, it has the bulk deliveries procedures. When present, the operator is responsible for it. The driver would be responsible for the truck. But this is stuff we already covered before a little bit. You verify that some of your truck containment areas have drains that can be closed. So they're usually left open so the rainwater will drain out. And then when the delivery is coming, you close that for the duration of the delivery. You want to verify that the right tank, that you know which tank is going to be receiving it. Make sure that it's the right tank. Make sure that the capacity, the remaining capacity in the tank is enough to accept the load that's going to be delivered. Verify that all the valving is correct, so that it's going to get to the right tank and not somewhere else. And usually, the driver is there, for the duration of the delivery. And I think all of your facilities, there's alarm systems, except for the day tanks, which are fed from other internal tanks. And any tanks receiving shipments from off-site, they have high-level alarms that should sound at the offload area. And then when the transfer is complete, you open up the valve again for the truck containment area. Incompatible materials is not a huge issue with yours. One example is the sodium hypochlorite mixed with the ferric chloride. It can generate chlorine gas. All of your fill ports from the trucks are, some of the chemicals have a common truck unloading area, but the fill ports are segregated with containment boxes around the fill ports. So with the redundant systems, if you have hypo at the facility, you'll have a box labeled with the tank numbers and the material, and there'll be 2 fill ports in there, one for each of the hypo tanks. So access is controlled. Some of your fill ports are locked and some of them aren't. The sumps should always be checked before initiating a transfer. And then the fill ports, if they're locked, once the delivery is complete, make sure that they're locked back up. When the delivery is being made, the driver should confirm to somebody at the facility that they're there and that they're going to be delivering such amount of such material to the particular tank. The driver is responsible for their vehicle. The driver would be, putting up warning signs. That's more common with industrial facilities. They may do it here too. And they should also, it's not entirely up to the driver, but the operator should check the tank gauges like we talked before. So for each tank, that the tank has the existing capacity for whatever the amount that's going to be delivered. During unloading, the driver or somebody from the facility should be present and monitoring it, make sure nothing is happening that shouldn't be happening. They should monitor the panel right there at the facility. You see the tank increasing and all like that, making sure that everything's going correct. And then each of the tanks are labeled with the design capacity, the full capacity of the tank. It's called the working capacity, which is 95% of the full capacity. So any offloading should stop before that 95% level is reached. And that's just a comfort range, so that you're not going to have anything bad happen. After unloading, the operator will verify the tank level. Any invoicing, if anything has to be done related the invoicing, make sure that the fill ports capped and secured. All of the containment boxes have, or most of them, have lids that can come down, prevent precipitation from getting in there. Any incidental spillage, when the disconnecting the lines, should be cleaned up. The driver will be ensured that all the hoses and everything related to his truck are secured again before you head down the road. Stormwater and secondary containment is not a big deal. Stormwater can be just the offload areas. You guys have it better than a lot of industries because stormwater from your containment system can go into the treatment system for the treatment plants. If there's any suspicion, something like ferric and ferrous chloride, it's pretty obvious visually if there's been a release of that. Other material, not so visually obvious. If there's a suspicion that there's something of materials been released, you can notify your supervisor. If it's acidic or caustic, you can check your pH meter or pH paper. And so, like I said, if you're unsure, you check with your supervisor. Sheen isn't too much, I don't think, with the materials that you have. Odor could be, discoloration definitely is. Like we talked before, you can do pH. If it's something besides pH and visual, you can always sample and analyze it. I don't think that's really ever been an issue at your facilities. Once again, when in doubt, if you still suspect that something is more than an incidental release inside the containment box, the fill ports, notify your supervisor. Inspections, daily are performed by the facility. Like I said, those are all documented with the log sheets. Those of you that have to do it will be familiar with those. It's just basically initialing that you've done it. With a daily, what you're looking for is to see if there's anything unforeseen. Like we said before, if you see material seeping around a flange or a pump seal, a couple of your tanks, if there's a problem at the bottom of the tank, you'll see it around the edges. We've seen that in our annual 5-year inspections. Right now, Plumbing Engineering is doing the annual 5-year inspections. Those are different requirements for both of those different types. And for the 5-year, we actually do a little more than is necessary by the requirements, especially for the plastic tanks. The daily inspections that you guys perform, what you're looking for is visual leaks and spills, any drain valves for the offload areas. If you have a facility where they're open, except for deliveries, make sure that they are open. And just, it's pretty common sense. Anything that looks out of order, suspicious, notify your supervisor, and if necessary, start a work order to address the issue of the small issue. The annual inspections that you don't have to worry about, we perform at this point in time. Gives a little more detail. Visual inspection. We have 4-page checklist basically for the annual inspection for everything, and it goes beyond. We also look at the spill prevention reports. Have to make sure that those are up to date. A lot of the other procedural stuff, make sure that those are being done. And those are all the second from the last bullet is actually that last bullet's going to be corrected. 58, 589, or 598, 599. The 5-year inspections, we usually do, like for the plastic tanks and non-destructive testing, we check the thickness. different locations, and usually do the calendar points, and 3 points on each of those. You look at other issue, the conformance to basically the different codes. It's different codes for plastic and FRP, fiberglass reinforced plastic tanks, which are the 2 types that the county has. And then we identify both from annual and 5-year, anything that looks like needs to be worked on, and we include a recommendation on the last page. Right now, I think you have 2 tanks in temporary out of service. I think. So there's different requirements for those. Anything permanently out of service, if the tank is left there, the lines have to be cut so it can't be used. We have used, in one case, a temporary out of service tank. It's kind of an emergency for another use that came up. So they can be put back into the service, but you basically have to re-register them at that point. Permanently closing a tank is usually, sometimes they're left in place. It's usually the tank is removed, cleaned, and properly disposed of. If you do leave the tank, you can stencil the closure date on it. You see that more with petroleum bulk storage tanks, occasionally with chemical bulk storage. And any time with a temporary, if it's going to be, the tank is closed, then you have to revise the registration. So that's it. Any questions at all? We covered a lot of different things, and it's not very exciting, but it's all part of the job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.